Nicole LaPointe Jameson ended up leaving Evil Geniuses. Like, I'd heard it was coming down the pipe. Well, I heard a lot of interesting things, actually. I mean, again, none of this is verified, otherwise I would have reported it, but I got told she was gone, 100% gone, and then I got told, actually, she's not gone. They're renegotiating a position for her, just not CEO. And then she was gone. And then people said, oh, she didn't want to do anything further down the trough, so to speak. So she bailed. Whatever happened, you know, she's out. I mean, I think, like, we can all agree her tenure at Evil Geniuses was an absolute fucking disaster. And I say that as somebody, you know, I obviously you can go read the article on the Substack if you want to. I say that as somebody who really wanted it to be different. You know, the thing that upsets me is that esports just, I don't know, every time I get excited to see somebody new in esports, they just turn out to be a disappointment. And all the good people that actually aren't a disappointment, we drive them away somehow. You know, I really miss Rick Fox, you know, like, can't stress it enough. Remember when we had, like, good ambassadors for the space? And we just don't have them now. You know, we just don't. It's pretty fucked up. I put it in the article. I'll do something I never do, and I'll read my own work. Oh, and that's not true. I do it all the time. I'm as much of a narcissist as she is, probably. But anyway, when I get it right, I think I get it right. And I said, it's just true now that no one comes to esports with good intentions. They're here to make money, to hold dominion over young adults, to live out their vapid sports team owner fantasies, or to play at being a celebrity. An industry at one time populated by enthusiasts whose excellence had pushed them into positions of influence is now a carnival of hucksters and grifters whose only real interest in esports is how it can be used to benefit themselves. Step right up, corporations. Adoring wealthy teenagers await inside. All your future customer dreams will come true for a one-time fee of $20 million. Buy the ticket, take the ride, and absolutely no refunds. And as I've said for some time, if it's true that politics is show business for ugly people, then esports is politics for dumb people. We simply don't attract good people anymore. No, we burned them all so bad they're on therapist couches right now trying to make sense of it all. We used to have Rick Foxes. Now we've got Rick Rollers, masters of the bait and switch that burn through other people's money while fudging the numbers just long enough for another cash injection. Then when there's no one left to lie to, they walk away mostly unscathed. C'est la vie. Esports is the problem. So, you know, I kind of feel that, you know, Nicole was kind of indicative of this, like, new wave of esports grifters, in the sense that she was appointed, you know, like, by Peak6. They essentially were happy for her to waste their money. But you know, but the reality is, she came into this space because she saw something that was kind of cool, and, you know, like, she wanted to be front and center. She started, you know, putting herself in the videos, started answering all of the questions, you know, from, like, the League of Legends people when they were doing it. Oh, no, I'll do the team interviews on the LCS broadcast. And at the end of the day, all she had to do to get it right was just listen to people, like, that had been in the space a little bit. You know, that was it. And she refused to do it. And I'm very, you know, and it's crazy because, like, EG had a ton of good people left over. EG had, like, so many, and still does, you know, like, they've got people that have been in the space for, you know, like, such a long time, and they're all very competent and they're all very well informed. And all she had to do was listen to them. All you have to do is just say, dear expert, give me your expertise. Not to mention, you know, there was because Evil Genius is such an iconic esports brand. Everybody was essentially giving a free consultancy. They were giving a good advice for free and offering to help. And she just couldn't bring herself down to the level of the peons and the peasants to talk to us and just listen to what we had to say, because we might know a little thing or two about esports. And what's super funny is, as we'll get to, the way they framed it in the accompanying Digiday article, like a mini interview with Axios style commentary, they made it out that she was the victim, that she was harassed, and anyone who was critical of her was some bad Gamergator type dude. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like this is somebody who, she went to an Ivy League school, was given an internship at a huge venture capital group, was then immediately employed by that venture capital group, then immediately installed in a CEO role in an esports org with no esports experience, or indeed, from what I can tell from her history, no CEO experience. Kind of sounds like she's the one coming from immense wealth and privilege, whereas I'm like some dude who pulled himself up from his fucking bootstraps and managed to make a living out of procrastination for 20 years. So I don't know, like, the idea that she isn't holding more societal cards than me is actually hilarious. So I don't see it that way, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. I mean, obviously that was the way they were going to go, but it's pretty embarrassing all round. Anyway, let's do the first statement, because actually things haven't all been bad at EG. If you might not follow esports anymore. I know a lot of you don't, because I don't blame you. Who the fuck would? But the EG Valorant team has actually won, the World Championships. And it's come after, obviously, a time where they were very maligned. If you know EG's history in Valorant, they started out with a co-ed roster where Potter was playing on it, didn't do too well. Potter got bumped up to coach after taking a lot of flack that she should never have took. She was put in an impossible position. Then she was given no resources whatsoever as a coach and basically told to build a team. EG underperformed for a long, long time, but piece by piece they started to unearth good talent, and then obviously discovered what I would say is on course to be a potential generational talent in the former Demon One. He's also got the great mic skills and is making an incredible heel over there in Valorant, and they were able to combine and win a Valorant World Championship. Now look, it's the start of an esport, so look, this always happens. All the boomers move to it at first. They use transferable skill sets to get themselves into positions of, for the first year or so. Then we hit the second year, and more people flock to the game. The talent pool gets bigger. We start losing the boomers and getting more youth through. But this isn't the refined talent yet. Then by year 3 and year 4, this is where you start getting people who are experienced in the game that get to become tenured pros and prove that they're level-headed and have sustained success. And you also get the crazy skilled kids that sort of just come out of nowhere and everyone starts mixing. And then about 3 or 4 years into an esport, that's when things are generally good. So, for EG to peak at this time is really promising for the team, but we don't know if it's going to sustain yet. And indeed, nothing seems to sustain in Valorant because it has this really weird system right now. But success is success. And after all of the L's that EG have taken, I think it's worth sort of observing that they did take a W. Now, the problem with that is, as you're about to see from Nicole's statement, it's not even a W they were sort of allowed to celebrate at any length. This is the statement here, a letter from Nicole, because I knew the writing was on the wall that Nicole was going to go, because she deleted her Twitter account, right? This is why it's not on her Twitter account. I'm told behind the scenes, when she realized she was going to be out, she didn't want to deal with the ridicule. Or again, as it's being framed, harassment. And so she immediately just got rid of the account. And that's insane when you think about how much they did to just build her and basically make her the face of the brand. Make her the brand. She was the EG brand, Like, she was taking funny tweets away from the EG social media team, tweeting them out as if they were her own work. So anyway, Twitter gone. Bye. But this is a letter, and see if you can spot the problem. It comes very early on here. Coming off of the most epic weekend in EG's modern era, I'm finding it incredibly bittersweet to share the news that I have today, which is that I am stepping down from my role as CEO of Evil Geniuses. This decision doesn't come easy for me, but winning a VCT World Championship, the EG way through equity of merit, inclusivity of infrastructure, and going against the grain with scrappy believers encapsulates everything we've been trying to do for the future of esports perfectly. Because of that, capitals, I know I can walk away with my head held high and heart full for what is to come. It's been the honour of a lifetime to act as EG CEO since 2019, but it's also been a humbling 4.5 years, and ain't she humble. We've had some failures, learned a ton, and celebrated many successes and joys. Thank you to everyone who has supported me in this journey. I especially couldn't have done it without my team, loved ones, and the fans that have touched my heart forever. I am grateful to all of you. And then blah, blah, blah. She introduced, the king is dead. Long live the king. Right. So the reality there is what she's done is on the way out of the door, EG, just coincidentally at that time, they actually got a W. And so even though, again, according to my sources and my understanding, writing's been on the wall pretty much since he deleted the Twitter account, which was approximately 2 weeks ago, she has then decided, I'm going to take credit for this. Because you have to remember, when she says we did it the EG way, she's the progenitor of what she believes to be the EG way, which is, fuck esports. Traditional esports is broken, probably the only thing I agree with her on, but obviously for very different reasons. She's an indicator of how broken it is, rather than the person that's going to swoop in and fix it all. But, she's making it plainly stated here that her ideas are what has led to the success of this team. And therefore, see ya, good luck, go fuck yourselves without me, essentially. And I just think it's like, look, when you're leaving, you might feel genuinely aggrieved about the nature of it all. But what I'll say is, certainly what I wouldn't do is sort of claim credit for other people's hard work on the way out the door. It's a bit disrespectful to the players. It's a bit disrespectful to Potter. Potter, by the way, should be spiking the football. She took so much shit from everyone in the Valorant space about what a useless coach she was and how she was a fucking diversity hire. Yes, some people actually went this far to say that. She's former world champion FPS player. She's one of the few coaches actually that has the credentials and tenure to back up the role. But she should be absolutely fucking spiking the football and telling everyone to go fuck themselves, but she's got too much class, which is something Nicole could learn from. But no, she wanted to take credit on the way out, and that's what the statement did. Now also, because it's Nicole, that's not enough, There had to be additional content around this monumental happening. So let's do the accompanying Digiday article first. And I'm going to read you just some choice little excerpts of it. It starts with a general statement just saying, she's leaving down, bit of history about all the partners that they brought in, not so much the partners that have left. Go check my reporting on how many sponsors they've lost. But this is, again, because it's a mainstream journalist, it's all kind of being held up as like, oh, but EG might have done terribly, but they did champion all of the right causes, didn't they? They were good people. They were good people, unlike the hideous chuds. And, yes, okay, cool. So, anyway, goes on to say, as of today, LaPointe Jameson is no longer involved in Evil Genius's day-to-day operations, but she will remain on staff for the next 2 weeks to aid in the transition in an advisory role. And I certainly hope there's going to be a peaceful transference of power. Chris D'Apollonio, who has previously served as Evil Genius's Chief Innovation Officer, is stepping in as the organization's interim CEO. Before joining Evil Geniuses in August 2020, he spent stints as a president or partnership executive for esports brands such as Houston Outlaws, Optic Gaming, and Obey Alliance. Right. So, there's a little quote here from her. It says, I have equity in EG, so I'll always have some peripheral relationship, but trying to make sure everyone's stable and that I'm not a blocker to anyone feeling empowered to go into the next stage of EG is my priority. Then it does this thing where it's like these, like say, this is like the Axios style of reporting a little bit, where they take a quote from an interview question and then Digiday adds its own context, its own kind of like, why this is important, why this matters, their own narration, if you like. They asked her about the timing of a departure, and she said, I came in more macro to turn around a back-end business that wasn't working. And the infrastructure, the title diversification, putting the brand back on the roadmap, I think, has been done. Nothing has been done perfectly, but I'm proud of where we've come versus where we were. And now the name of the game is what's the next evolution of revenue growth, revenue diversification, and innovation. Because I think the world knows just functioning and monetizing as an esports team today doesn't work. So I'm super excited to pass the torch to my longtime right hand, our revenue brain. Now, it's got to be said, I don't know where she's getting this from. Like, the idea that EG is back on the road from where it is. No, it's not. It's far worse off now than it ever was. It was a legendary North American brand that had fallen on hard times. It had lost its mastermind. It had gone through a terrible acquisition by Twitch, where other North American esports orgs essentially said to Twitch, you own Alliance and you own EG, and Alex Garfield works for you now. And if we feel they're getting any priority attention, we are going to leave. We will go to YouTube, we'll go to a rival, and we will make your lives as difficult as possible while we transition into that happening. So that's what happened to EG. That's how it fell on hard times. Then a group of people who had been at the org took over in more executive positions, and they curated it, but the finances were fucked after Twitch, and so Peak6 swooped in and got a big brand for what I understand isn't a lot of money, and appointed Nicole, who wasn't even meant to be the CEO originally. I think she was going to be COO, and Philip Aram was going to be the CEO, but in the end, I guess she fancied the big seat, and it's been a disaster ever since. So, I mean, even in the time they took over in 2019, I believe the Evil Geniuses CS:GO team was the world #1. Well, where are they now? As a wise man once said, what about today, dickhead? Let's have a look. Okay, I don't seem to be able to find them in the top 30. Okay, they're now 40th in the world, and keep in mind that ranking is artificially high because, of course, they're in the partnered leagues that mean they can never fall below a certain threshold in the world rankings. So, and they've got a team that, best will in the world, just isn't very good and not very motivated. In fact, they find themselves in the unenviable position of, on recent form, Junior's their best player. So, I don't know, actually, about EG, and that's just one team. Now, yeah, they've turned the Valorant team around. That's good news. Well done on that one. But, I mean, all their other teams, like if I go to their website, let's see. Their League of Legends team is, their Dota team is, hugely gone backwards. They've still got some of the FGC people, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. Not really great across the board, is it? Not to mention, nobody watches their Creator Collective stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that she's fixed the financials of it either, actually, given that their sponsors are kind of in a bit of an embarrassing shambles. Like, I think about how big EG was and how dominant they were in terms of how they used to really dominate North American esports by just having more sponsors than everybody else. Every time a sponsor came in, they would ask around, and just when like maybe a Complexity or someone was about to seal a deal, Evil Geniuses would swoop in, not only steal it, but steal it and have them paying more, and typically over a longer period of time. There was probably a period of time where I want to say Evil Geniuses would have had an excess of 20 sponsors. If you go and look at the Evil Geniuses page now, these are the partners. Okay, so let's just quickly remove a few in case it looks impressive. Peak6 are their owners. right? So yes, they're a separate company, but Peak6 are the majority owner of this. Wolves are their co-owners because Wolves are owned by the Fosun Sports Group, which is the second owner of this. Then you have MasterCard being listed. You think, oh, MasterCard, that's a big one. I have one of those in my wallet, right? Everyone prefers Visa. But yeah, they have a MasterCard. And I believe that's not a direct sponsorship, but rather a partnership via extension of them being in the LCS, right? So, okay, we take those three out, and you're left with Thunderpick, okay, relatively new online fantasy platform. Nothing wrong with that. Fantasy's good. It's having a bit of a resurgence. Thunderpick seem to be cool dudes. I've talked to Thunderpick myself in the past. Secret Lab. Yeah, okay. They do some cool content and whatnot, you know. Yeah, okay. The Hewlett-Packard, that's Hewlett-Packard, I should say. I don't know why I'm saying it like Jean-Luc Picard. It's John Luke's brother. Hewlett-Packard. That's fine. LG Ultra Gear, that's fine. Is that the chairs? Are they the chairs? And then they're VK Game. I'm not even sure what that is. And they have Chevron. Secret Labs is the stupid sexy chair advert. Right, my bad. The one that goes, like for no reason. Just the stupid sexy moaning Twitch ad. Okay. Chevron is their official fuel partner, because obviously, if you're going to be an evil geniuses, you do need to partner up with one of the companies destroying the planet and making it so it's unbearably hot indoors in September. Excellent. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say, unless that Chevron deal is an absolute fucking bang-a-langer, I don't think they've turned the corner financially, actually. I don't think they have, and I know they've spent a lot of money for not a lot of much. So just a thought. Anyway, we'll get back to what Digiday have to say about it. Digiday don't offer my kind of insight into it, but there's what they had to say. They said, with the harsh realities of esports winter in mind, it's not surprising Evil Geniuses is growing more focused on revenue generation as it enters its next stage as a business. LaPointe Jameson cut her teeth working in private equity before becoming CEO of Evil Geniuses, and the role of private equity acquisitions is generally to streamline companies' revenue, turning them into profitable vehicles before selling them for a multiple. When she took the reins at EG, beefing up the org's revenue streams was certainly one of LaPointe Jameson's goals, and it's unclear exactly what kind of new potential partnerships or revenue streams might be opened up by D. Apollonio's ascension CEO. And then it's another quote from Nicole, and she says, I'm biased, but coming from a private equity mindset, I've always got downside risk and a P&L focus, sometimes to a fault. And I think we've made changes over the past year and a half. We've really been thoughtful on how to face a poor market turn for our space for a while now. So we are actually strong in our partnership position. Now, as I said, I don't think that at all. In fact, there's two rumors behind the scenes right now. Two very strong rumors. One might come up a little bit later, but I'll just get that one out the way. That they are selling their LCS slot. That's, people are messaging me, rich. All the sources coming out the woodwork, rich, and I just can't be asked. I just don't care. I've written enough about Evil Geniuses for 2023, I think. Let somebody else go get that scoop if it is indeed a scoop. Go get them. So there was that they were selling the LCS. And the other thing is that they are trying, Peak6 are trying to get the Fosun Sports Group, which is the Chinese entity that co-owns the team and owns Wolves Football Club in the Premier League. They are trying to get the Fosun Group to take over more of the share and basically become the majority owners. So that's the other rumor that's going around behind the scenes. So, on that, that implies to me that no, things aren't rosy at all, in fact. So, I don't know. But whatever. She's going to self-aggrandize. It is her exit interview after all. Then there's another bit here on LaPointe Jameson's role as a public figure within the esports industry. She said, I definitely think I was naive to the realities of esports. Oh, okay. Let's time for some self-reflection, perhaps. Let's see. Esports might be a smaller pond in the grand scheme of the universe, but our community is definitely engaged and expects direct communication and access, and being a public face, I'm using air quotes, in this space was not something I planned for, was not classically trained in. But it was a good learning opportunity, and I took the responsibility of being a public face seriously. For any public face in any business, there's always criticisms, myself definitely not excluded from that, but it's clear to me that being a face in the space mattered positively to a lot of people, and that's something I'm so grateful for. Now, a lot of presumption there, and not a lot of self-reflection in the end. It doesn't look like she did learn all that much. Because the reality is this, no one said she had to be the public face. The thing was, and I hate to say it, the minute she was appointed, they queued up coverage with all of the usual suspects. I was just watching this, because I was preparing for the stream. I knew I was going to stream tonight. And I was talking to a friend who's off work, sick with the new wave of COVID that's going around. You know, everyone's getting it, aren't they, again? And and we watched some of the stuff. I was like, look how fucking sickening this shit is. And, she did like an interview with like BuzzFeed about how she's esports' first ever female CEO. And I just don't know if that's true. And it doesn't even sound true that we've had this industry that's been around for like now over 20 years. And in that time, in 20 years, there wasn't another woman at all that ever rose to the heights of CEO in an esports company. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. And I would love somebody to go out and do the research. But I want to say, I already have a pretty good feeling that the Frag Dolls would eclipse that by some distance. I'm pretty sure. So it's just off the top of my old school bonds. But I don't know. But anyway, there will definitely have been other women CEOs in the esports space. So anyway, seems a bit weird, but fine. And also, you didn't have to start putting yourself in the videos. You definitely didn't have to do that. Not many CEOs do. And actually, I think there's a bit of a new wave, a bit of a hipster thing happening in esports now. We're all kind of sick of the dude bro CEOs, you know? How many more times can you listen to Nadeshot say something glib, or Reginald fucking fuck something up, on his Reginald Bro Reddit account or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, actually, I think people are a little bit bored of these CEOs with massive egos and loads of money. There you go, Cat Hunter at Carolina Core. I don't know if she was Carolina Core, actually. She was LA Optic to begin with, I think. But I think she might have done 2 franchises. But again, I mean, that's a franchise. So. But anyway, I think people are just sort of sick of it a little bit. They actually just want somebody to be clear and do the messaging, but it doesn't have to be some narcissistic executive. So she misjudged that. She also didn't seem to grasp that making yourself a permanent fixture in terms of talking means that when something bad happens, even if it's nothing to do with you, you will be the lightning rod. I found that out. I'm the host of E-League. E-League hires somebody that people don't like. People complain to me about it, even though I had nothing to do with that hire or whatever. It just happened. So, no, she didn't really seem to learn a lot. Anyway, here you go. This is Digiday's response to that quote, saying, during this call, LaPointe Jameson focused on the business goals behind her departure, not a personal experience as CEO, but it's hard to ignore that she became a punching bag for enraged esports fans during her time as leader of Evil Geniuses. Some public figures in esports have clamoured for her exit, and in July, LaPointe Jameson deleted her Twitter account, which had become a lightning rod for online harassment. Given the widespread toxicity present in the online esports community, and by the way, they link there to another article which says, by the same journalist, why the esports community's toxicity is becoming the industry's most enduring problem with brands. That's of March 2023. I don't know, mate. I don't think you've got your finger on the pulse. Because if it's so toxic and so horrible, why do these cunts keep coming? Take the hint. Fuck off. Go somewhere good, yeah? Yeah? Go somewhere good. It's too toxic for you. Why do you keep coming here, businesses? Why? Why do you all want a piece of this highly desirable 18 to 25 demographic with disposable income? It's really weird. It's awful here. We're all cunts, right? So why don't you just go away? You know, but you don't. You keep coming and trying and lying and manipulating. And it's really weird how that is. But it's so toxic, isn't it? So full of shit. I mean, it's one of the things where, again, I'm sorry to bring this up, because I know I did bring it up before. It was like with the Duked project. When the Duked project didn't deliver on its initial goal, they pivoted into saying, oh no, what we were really building was a place where you can come and watch esports without the toxicity. That was their desperate sort of play. That wasn't what it was meant to be. It was just meant to be a TV guide and a way to have multiple streams on and know what was on Twitch at any given time. But yeah, it's just basically the classic thing that we see time and time and time again. It's the 2016 Ghostbusters remake bullshit, where it's like, no, this movie is dog shit. It's objectively dog shit. I don't know what else to say about it. And they say, but if you think it's dog shit, that's because you're a misogynistic chud who loves the original so much. By the way, I can't remember the last time I watched Ghostbusters. Good film, whatever. When I was a kid, I did have the Ray Parker Jr. single as well. But fine. But it's not. I have to like it or I hate women. It feels like a bit of a fucking rough deal, doesn't it? But that's what they did. They turned the fact the movie was shit and everyone hated it into a part of the marketing, and everyone went, wow, that's the best thing Sony's done in years. And now everybody copies that. And so every time somebody leaves, somebody gets criticized, it cannot be that it's valid. There has to be some other ulterior bigoted motive. And it's like, no, she just wasn't very good at her job. When it says some public figures in esports have clamored for her exit, they link to a video in its last Free Nation entitled Time for EG CEO Nicole appoint Jameson to leave, with obviously Duncan and Monty in it. And it's like, they weren't the only ones, guys, by the way. Like, there was lots of good fucking reasons to say she had to go. It wasn't just that she tanked the org. As we'll get to, one of the most egregious examples of player, neglect happened on her watch. It not only happened on her watch, by all accounts, according to all the reporting, she was directly involved in it. So now we skip to that part. On the role of the Dany controversy and Jameson's decision to step down, she said, certainly not a factor. Now, what you have to remember here is whether she understands it or not only was it a factor, it was the flick of the first domino. And I'll explain why. Because when I did the Dany story, and again, remember, this was me, everyone had heard rumours behind the scenes about what had happened to Dany, and it was being covered up. And then if you remember, there were the messages of his sister that got put on a stream, then recanted, and then Nicole came out and said, oh, we can't talk about it, it's a HIPAA violation. Like, it's not a HIPAA you're not obligated under HIPAA. You're not a medical business. You're an individual, so crazy shit. And so anyway, I was like, right, well, time for me to get into this. Got into it, exposed pretty much everything, a horrible story all round, to the point where a player who's a vulnerable adult anyway is malnourished, and a doctor is looking at this person and saying, yeah, you should probably go to hospital. The malnourishment is that bad. So that was so egregious. There were people internal to EG, people who'd been at EG, players who were at EG, workers who worked at EG. They saw that and saw that report and thought, fuck it, enough's enough. And that was when I got all the other stories I did. Because it turns out, if you're an arsehole to people, when somebody takes the plunge and gives their story first, everybody comes out. Everybody comes out and wants to tell their story. Like, actually, it's worse than you think. And she was that person, by all accounts. Out of all the people I interviewed, you'd be amazed. There was one name that consistently come up, and it was Nicoles. Wasn't Gamer Doc, it was Nicoles and this Jessica from Peak6. That was it. That was the recurring story. So anyway, For her to say it's not a factor is bullshit. And for all the people that were saying, all of her cronies in the League of Legends sphere, it's just a systemic issue. Esports orgs aren't very good at caring about people, right? It's not systemic. Because if it was systemic, it would have been this person's name, another person's name, another manager's name. No, it was her all the time. So, not systemic. She just wasn't fit to be around esports people who are, look, maybe she will be very successful and even considered a big softy sweetheart in the corporate world of America, but this is an esports org. You have to treat it very differently. The people are different, with different priorities and different goals and different personalities. If you can't adapt, you shouldn't be in charge. But anyway, so she said it's not a factor. It is the factor. But just get a load of this. She goes, myself or EG, have still not received any actual complaints from Dany or his family around this. Dany even posted on Twitter himself, I'm adding the air quotes, that he did not feel mistreated and had a good experience. So I know that's been a divide. I know people want an apology, but as of now, I have nothing to apologize for. Now that's not great, is it? Because you definitely have something to apologize for, even if it happened in absentia, because you're the CEO, right? And when she says, as of now, just a reminder, there is still an ongoing Riot Games investigation about this, yet to go public. And I will say this to Riot Games. She has given you a perfect opportunity here, Riot, to do what you love to do, to put all the blame on someone else, and you're faultless. So take it, because if you don't, I'm going to have to question, that's not the Riot Games I know. This is a guilt-edged opportunity. She has left. She's not in your ecosystem anymore. She's not in the orbit of Riot Games. It happened on her watch. She's the CEO. You have kicked CEOs out of your space, right, for mistreatment of players. So, when you find to find out what happened, just go read it on Deserto. It's there. But if you do your own investigation, but, make sure you take the opportunity. It's guilt-edged. As of now, I have nothing to apologize for. So, hit her with the report, blame it. We couldn't have possibly foreseen that one of our favourite CEOs would behave in this way. I suppose in many ways, that's our failing. But no, we're Riot. We don't fail. So Nicole Jameson is banned for life from ever being a CEO or manager in LCS again. There you go. There it is. I've paraphrased it for you. Just do it. What's incredible is this journalist is so incurious about what happened with Dany. Listen to their summary here. This is their additional narrative, their additional context. The scandal surrounding Dany, a former Evil Geniuses League of Legends player who suffered from mental health issues while on the team's roster, has been one of the focal points of controversy involving EG over the past year. LaPointe Jamison's decision to step down will almost certainly spark fair speculation that the controversy, or Riot Games' investigation of it, was the cause. A Riot Games representative declined to comment on the matter prior to the publication of this article. The former Evil Geniuses CEO denied that the controversy had anything to do with her departure, stressing that her company's top focus with the former pro player was his safety and health, not Evil Genius's bottom line. A source close to the company, who requested anonymity due to the sensitivity of the situation, confirmed that Dany has remained on EG's payroll since retiring from active play for health insurance purposes, with no official obligations to stream or compete. Now, who told you that when that went through? It's an open secret, guys. Everybody knows it. And because it's in Digiday now, I'll just say it on stream. And come at me with your fucking litigious bullshit if you want. Would love to do discovery on this one. Right? When he stood down, what stopped the parents from complaining, which is, remember, she's saying is evidence of there being no wrongdoing, they were super upset because obviously, because of his ongoing conditions that he has, there's medication, there's therapy, there's all this other stuff. So you need medical insurance. And so, because they see the stress as of what happened during his time in EG as the contributing factor that pushed him to the meltdown, they were like, look, you've got to do something about this. So the organization said, well, look, What about if we move him into content creation? He's still got his contract, but he doesn't even have to stream if he doesn't want to, and he can keep the salary until the end of his contract, and of course, crucially, the benefits. And everybody said yes, and the only thing you have to do is just do a little tweet. Hey, we'll even write it for you. And there it is, and up it went. I just can't believe, like, they're even... Like, it's like, surely everybody can see how transparent that is, by the way. So, yes, that's what the anonymous source said, and that's what multiple anonymous sources have said to me, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows this to be true. By the way, I don't even think he streamed in about 6 months. I think he streamed like twice or something since he moved to the content creative thing. Yeah, there you go, April. So 5 months, you know? Where's all the content? So it sort of tells its own story, right? Anyway, then the Digiday asks a question about the rumor I told you about. Are Evil Geniuses looking to sell its League of Legends LCS slot? And Nicole says everything's for sale for the right price. Yes, including souls, I'm told. For fuck's sake. Everything's for sale for the right price. This is a space that needs to think differently around structure. I'll use 100 Thieves as a great example. They have diversified their revenue by building and buying components that are market correlated to esports, but don't cannibalize their core. There's always opportunities. We're always looking. Right now, I can say that the plan going forward will definitely be Chris and the board's call, but I don't think the open-mindedness to good opportunities will ever change. Anyway, on it goes. Digiday don't add much value here. They just say, as esports winter sets in, more esports organizations become open about their plans to divest from competitive gaming. Teams such as Misfits have pivoted away almost entirely. Other prominent orgs such as TSM are looking to sell their spots in the major franchise leagues as well. So it's not surprising here that EG might be open to such a deal, even if the org is confident about its overall financial position. And there it is. That was the big Digiday send-off. Now, I don't know. I would have definitely pushed a bit harder on some of those things, but it's not that kind of paper publication. And as it was published almost in tandem with a leaving statement, it was PR. It was media PR, like all the other PR fluff about how amazing she is that was pumped out there. She also did a LinkedIn post. Here it is. It seems fitting that after lifting the Valorant World Championship trophy this week, to announce that my last day at Evil Geniuses is coming up next month. There are too many feelings to write, but thinking back at the past 4.5 years, all I can feel is immense appreciation for the opportunity to shake up the esports and gaming world alongside an incredible group of innovators, disruptors, athletes, and creators. We came in to turn this around. What started as an amazing legacy esports brand that had lost its way as a sustainable business turned into a powerhouse that showed the world that everyone can play and gaming is for all, from in-game to the boardroom, right? So I don't even know where to begin with this. I tried to explain to you in previous content I've done around Evil Geniuses that Nicole is upset. That thing that's in that glass onion, the Knives Out, where it's like, hey, we're disruptors. We're all here because we're fucking disruptors, yeah? We go in and we disrupt things. We say things no one else will say. We think things no one else will think. She really believes in that shit. She can't understand that that is cringe. And that she's not a disruptor. She's just a fucking pain in the ass. Trust me, you could disrupt anything by being a pain in the ass. You could disrupt anything by saying, all great ideas, but fuck you, I'm in charge. We'll do what I want. Yeah, that's very disruptive, right? That's very disruptive, but it's not optimal, is it? I mean, it's not good, is it? To use a very basic word, it's not as cool as this. I'm a disruptor, right? I think the most pathetic aspect of the legacy she is trying to carve out for herself on the way out of the business is that she is implying that Evil Geniuses was the only org that, you know, hired women, hired people from diverse racial, ethnic, and religious backgrounds, different gender identities. This is fucking esports. It's one of the most, like, It's one of the most diverse and inclusive businesses there is. I've never understood this idea about like how esports is super unwelcoming. It's nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. It's never held up to any scrutiny whatsoever. It's just in the games themselves, people are pricks. Like, all anonymous, and on social media, people are pricks. Like, all fucking anonymous internet accounts, people are pricks. That's it. But don't tell me there's, like, spaces out there where it's like, you know, like, dude, like, if I guarantee right now, if I typed in a few fucking keywords into, like, Bing, you know, I could find, like, an entirely trans esports org, or, you know, an esports org that has a focus on, you know, BIPOC, or whatever the latest term out of Berkeley is. And no one bats an eyelid. No one objects. No one's up in arms about it. I think we've actually got, like, a really fucking diverse group of thought leaders, to use her corporate parlance, in this space. So I've never understood it. But the fact is, they tanked an org. They didn't really win anything until now. And so she's got to make out that there was some other struggle going on to justify how fucking shit the entire time an EG was. She goes, "We refined who was part of the esports community, with EG boasting half of female fandom, 44% of fans from outside our NA roots, 46% people of colour, and 17% LGBTQ in 4 years, and our fandom reflects the diversity of the amazing team we built at EG. We grew our content views from less than 6 figures to 50 million, and we grew followers to over 14 million. We received 4 hard-fought franchise slots across the most popular titles in esports, and shepherded 2 women's professional teams." Don't know why you would word it like that, but okay. "Our unique data-driven approach to athletics caught the eye and won Sports Business Journal's Tech Innovation Award. Our legacy, not them, not you, Nicole, has celebrated over 180 championships, most notably, and proudly, our recent Valorant World Championship win." Again, she does this all the time. You know, you heard the stories on the Substack, parading around her office with the old trophies that she had nothing to do with. And now she's saying the most notable trophy that EG ever won was the Valorant Championship that they just won now. Anyway, she says here, "A big thank you to the believers, internally and externally. Thank you to our partners and investors. We built a team at one point bigger than 200 across the globe, many of whom you had to lay off, didn't you? That challenged, excited, and inspired me every day, and took on the challenge of trying esports differently, and it will be our players, creators, and amazing team members that I will miss the most after this incredible ride of the past few years." Let me tell you, the feeling isn't mutual, all right? It's not mutual at all. Now, just to top it off, right, with how much nonsense is going on. Because as I said, look, I'm all for giving everybody a fair shake. And as I said, I really wanted Nicole to be good. But I've actually talked to her. She seemed really cool when she first came in. I was trying to get her on the podcast. I think I asked like twice. I'm glad in retrospect she hadn't been on now, because I think I might have actually fell into being a bit overly welcoming. I'm kind of like a golden retriever when you get to know me. I'm like really nice and overexcited and love talking to new people about new things and hearing new perspectives. So I might have been a bit too delicate, actually. And it would have made me look like a prick. It would have made me look awful. So I certainly dodged a bullet on that one. But, you know, as I said, everyone is super keen to rewrite the history of what happened. And basically, the Peak6 tenure has been a total disaster with some minor blips, some minor high points. And those high points are typically driven by players, and they are typically driven by the other staff. You know, the coaches, those types of people. So anyway, internally, there was an email that went around to all of the people at Peak6 about her time there. And this email is insane. Went around the EG leadership announcement. This was just sent out in general mail to all of the people at Peak6. And I will read you this email. Peak6ers which is pretty fucking cringe right out the gate, all the Peak6s. Today, Peak6 congratulates Nicole on her amazing accomplishments and wishes her the best of luck in her next stage. We believe that Peak6 has always developed champions, and Nicole personifies this. Nicole originally came to Peak6 as an intern before joining us full-time after graduating college. She worked across several different companies, gaining experience and skills before eventually rising to the role of CEO at Evil Geniuses. She applied the same idea of developing champions to the culture at EG and grew the organization into, that phrase again, a global powerhouse in esports. Now, I just don't know if they're even checking in with what's happened at EG. They're not a global powerhouse at all. They are an embarrassment. They're a running joke. Everybody mocks and ridicules them. Right now, and I know this from talking to people, when people are now talking about, like back in the day, it used to be, there were like other orgs that you would point at and say, oh, don't do that. Don't be like those guys. No. But now it's like, right now, oh, don't do what EG did. Nobody thinks they've done a great job, like, by the way. So that's just the reality of it. People might go in the room and shake their hands and say, oh, wow, EG is so amazing or whatever when they're having meetings. But they're not just a joke publicly to the fans. They're a joke privately to industry people as well, which is quite telling. From the very beginning, we set the goal of winning championships in all major titles: CSGO, LCS, and Valorant. After winning trophies in CSGO in 2019, when they just bought the org and didn't touch anything, and winning LCS in 2022, a split. We capped off the run by winning the World Championship in Valorant this past weekend. So you have exactly, not including your FGC stuff, which I'm not going to count, or if you want to, add it on, you have exactly, I think, 4 trophies. Well, no, it was 3. It was 3 trophies. I think it's 3 trophies in 4.5 years or something. So, I don't know. Doesn't seem great to me. Anyway, hell of a run. Nicole joins, and I don't know some of these people that are Lorena Ochoa, Sean Connery, Ken Dryden, and Mia Hamm as people who have stepped back when they were at the very top of the world professionally. Like all of them, Nicole will go on to do even greater things. Now, I thought Sean Connery... Right, listen, a lot of people are saying that must mean Sean Connery the actor, but there has to be another famous business Sean Connery. Because Sean Connery didn't step back at the top of his game, you know, because he wasn't really at the top of the world professionally. And, you know, he sort of stepped back amid... There was a weird scandal, wasn't there? Because he said he hits women. Do you remember? They wanted to take his knighthood away. Because in an interview, they asked, you said in the past that you hit women. He goes, oh, yes. And she went, well, what do you mean? And he went, well, never with a fist. I only use an open hand. You know, women push your buttons and you have to use an open hand. And the woman that's interviewing him, name escapes me right now, is horrified, obviously, but Sean Connery's having none of it. And then they were like, well, look, how can we have a Knight of the Realm going around saying he does a very unchivalrous thing of, hitting his wives and partners. And there was a lot of pressure for him to lose his knighthood, and he in Hollywood didn't hire him anymore. He was not working at the end of his life. So I can't believe they mean the actor. Like, I just can't. There has to be a business Sean Connery. Yeah, Barbara Walters, that's it. It has to be. Because, like, she follows in Sean Connery's footsteps amid. It's like, no, Sean Connery didn't go out at the top of it. Like, I don't know. Maybe this person writing the email missed that interview. Anyway, Jenny just said, this is obviously, Jenny Just, I guess is her name. Jenny Just, that must get confusing in meetings. Jenny Just said, Nicole has achieved every competitive goal we had set for ourselves. We are the best in the world at esports, and it is no surprise to me that we have done this with such a diverse group of players, coaches, and business leaders. Chris D'Apollonio will take on the interim role as CEO at Evil Geniuses while we evaluate our future plan, i.e. try to sell. Matt Hulsizer, I don't know, added, if Nicole is the Warren Buffett of esports, then Chris is certainly her Charlie Munger. We are grateful to him to help us transition EG. Now, Nicole isn't the Warren Buffett of esports, ladies and gentlemen. She is far from it. I don't know, like Warren Buffett, super successful guy, decades and decades of experience, or one vapid little narcissist that sort of came in and played at being a celebrity for 4.5 years and just by proxy sort of won 3-4 trophies without really being directly responsible for any of that success. I don't know. There's probably better examples. Now, anyway, that email is cringe. It's giga cringe. It's beyond the purview of what is a normal thing to say. And as somebody that's had a job, right, lots of jobs, as I'm sure regular viewers are aware, no, when you leave a company or when you step down from a role, this isn't normal. This isn't. The League of Legends subreddit think it is, but this isn't normal. Take it from me, right? When you leave a role and they circulate it, you're leaving on good terms. They don't say, oh, Richard Lewis is the fucking bricktop of call center management. You know, they don't say that, do they? They don't say Richard Lewis was the Andre the Giant of esports. They don't say that, do they? It's just not there. Like, it's just not real. You don't get that on the way out. They just say, like, oh, you know, here's a couple of high points from Richard's time, and this is his replacement. We wish him all the best. He wishes us all the best. You know, this isn't normal. This isn't even normal in America. I had an American job. I've had American jobs, haven't I? I lived in America and had American jobs, so I know this isn't normal. League of Legends subreddit, they say normal, not normal, definitely not normal. But obviously, remember, Reddit is a place where idiots LARP as intellectuals and teenagers LARP as adults, basically. Sometimes with sinister motives, but we won't get into that. Reddit is a terrible website for that particular problem, though. Just letting everybody know. You know, you've heard the stories. So, the League of Legends subreddit got hold of a clip because Duncan showed the email on Summoning Insight with Monty. He said, I've got something special to show you, and they brought the email up. And as I said, I think the email is actually part of something that's in the public interest, frankly, because I think much like the email I included in my report when Nicole is telling everybody at the company, we are appalled at what people are saying about us as it relates to Dany, but don't worry, we're not going to do anything about it. We're not going to put out any statements. We're not going to address it, and we ask that you don't as well. I think it's indicative of the mindset of the company, and I think that is indicative of Peak6 and just the gibberish that's going on. Like, they, you know, internally they're telling everybody that they did a good job. It's like insane. But so it goes up, horrendous internal email from EG following Nicole's departure. And I like the top comment because Warren Buffett of esports is going to be a classic. If that line had dropped when LoL Esports was peaking in season 4, 5, it would have been game over. Instant forever meme around here for sure. Definitely. Warren Buffett of esports. What a joke. Good riddance to Nicole, the Warren Buffett of esports. Love all these comments. You're doing it well here. This is fine. We are the best in the world at esports. XD. And then it starts. It begins. This just looks like a stock standard. Our CEO is leaving, but we don't want people to look deeply into why HR email. It's written by a Peak6 HR person to hit a bunch of points in corporate speak. Nicole helped grow EG. She's stepping back while successful, like other famous successful people, though the Sean Connery comparison is a hilarious pull. Our company is great, and Nicole helped us be great. Welcome the new CEO replacing her. Like, yeah, the email's tone deaf when weighed against the league scene, but I fail to see what is horrendous about it. Nicole was not willing to apologise or take responsibility in a personal interview. The company sure as hell isn't going to burn bridges in a mass email addressed to all staff. Nobody wants the company's internal email to apologise for the Dany situation. I don't know what the fuck you're on about. What what we don't want is somebody that's kind of like been given the dream job in esports. And I mean this, like, I would have loved if somebody had come to me a few years ago and said, here's Evil Geniuses, right? So in 2019, right at the start of the pandemic as well. So I would have been just indoors working on it 24/7, like we all were, right? Right at the start of the fucking pandemic, if somebody had said, we want to install you, right? Hi, we're a venture capital group. We want to install you as the CEO of Evil fucking Geniuses. We've got unlimited money to piss up against the wall with any frivolous idea you suggest. We will back you to the hilt, no matter how stupid it is. And in fact, in many ways, Peak6 isn't even in the Evil Geniuses business. We're in the Richard Lewis business. Go have fun, spend our money. I would, like, did I die? Like, is this my last, swallowing of the bitter pill in oblivion? Is this the death dream that makes me think that my life was worthwhile? This would be wicked. I'd love to do that. Fucking love to do that. All day long. I'll never get a chance to do that. I talk too much fucking sense. So, she had the dream job. Back to the hilt. Broad PR coverage. Everyone in the media fawning over her. Journalists complicit in tempering down coverage. League of Legends moderators deleting comments back in the Dany story when people were going Nicoles to blame. That has to go. Remember, I've documented all of this. It's all in the videos. It's all there. So she was protected by everybody in the scene. So I would have loved that. Like, that would have been perfect. But no, this is not normal. It's not normal to get compared to Warren fucking Buffett when you've actually been, at best, mediocre. I'm really being kind by saying mediocre. There's loads of that. Look at this. I work in a large company, and the language in the email is pretty standard for this type of thing. Could have easily been in my work inbox about some random leadership person at my company that I don't care about. Nothing about this is horrendous. The whole post reeks of someone who hasn't spent much time in the corporate world. Well, I have never seen an email this bad in my life. There's a bit of pushback there. This is not a standard corporate email. It definitely isn't. I'm convinced people in esports don't know how normal companies operate. There is nothing wrong with this email. It is a typical work email for a departing leader. It's not. Anyone in the chat seen an email like this ever in their life? You all have jobs. Bet you haven't. I'm going to watch. Let's have a look at the chat. There you go. No. There's a yes with a kappa sign. A no. See, never, nah. Like, you know what I mean? Never seen that. Like this comment. This is what actual privilege looks like, where you can fuck up and somehow fail upwards. Indeed. Weird how that keeps happening in esports. People saying this is an HR email. Yeah, look, see. Full on. Not once do they border on absurd ass kissing. Full on cringe this email is. It is. Horrendous? Really? Like, I don't get it. In the context of an internal email, I don't see what's horrendous about this. I don't know. Seems strange to me. So, Nicole just gets to walk away, probably to another part of the Peak6 portfolio. And I've already called what's going to happen. She's going to turn up on some of the talking circuit in whatever other, she'll move back into whatever it is, VC, investment banking, whatever business she's going to be part of. And about 5 years from now, she'll be doing a TED-style talk about her time in Evil Geniuses and how the chuds tried to bully her because she was a woman and actually she learned a lot of lessons and how silly the esports industry is. That's 100% going to happen. And it's just like so ridiculous to me that everyone is tiptoeing around her legacy when in fact she fucking not just only fucked up EG, but there was a very human cost to her time in charge. And that should never be forgotten. I'll never forget it. As I said in my article, sort of summarizing her legacy, she sucked, as in she sucked at her job, but she sucked, and the people who tried to make her not suck, she made their lives suck. That's just how an awful, by all accounts, an awful person. So, one down in esports. Good news.